Hey guys, it's Jenny with Creature Cove, and today we're going to be feeding some baby rosy boas. I'm taking a little break from Tater and Tot because I kind of forgot to be following along with these little neos as they started growing and maturing and shedding and eating and all the exciting things that I love so much. So I'm going to do a quick video and show you guys and talk a little bit about feeding baby rosy boas. And then I will do a separate video with the update of what I found out from the vet and stuff about Tater Tot. So stay tuned for that one, and let's get going on these babies. So I've got, it's a little weird because I'm videoing by myself again, so it's a little hard for me, but, and I have a cricket sounding so obnoxiously in the background, but there's not much I can do about that. So I fed one of them on accident already because when I feed the neos, I just kind of want to get through it because I get really stressed out. I have some very good eaters, and I have a couple that are refusing to eat so far, which makes me sad, but I do deal with it almost every year that I've bred them. And we don't know why, just rosy babies tend to sometimes just be hard to get going. Like if you have hog noses or breed hog noses, same thing. Some just end up failing to thrive. But when you have rosies and you don't have that many babies to begin with, it's really hard when you lose them. So here we go. So I fed Uno already, who is our Cabo San Lucas. So let's move along to little Scissors. I wonder if I can, let me readjust you guys so you can see. Okay, so this is going to be Scissors. He is our Het Anri Magdalena. So visually, he's just a plain, shouldn't say plain because he's still gorgeous, but just an Magdalena. So let's find him. He has yet to have an issue eating. So I'm just going to feed him. Close your eyes if you don't like feeding. But I'm just feeding with frozen thawed Pinky. To like a very little Pinky. And come here a little bit. Whoop. And I actually, oh, is it the light? Oh, I hope I don't mess them up with lighting. And so once they grab hold of it, sometimes it takes a second for them to start coiling. But I personally will always kind of play with the mouse until they start coiling, just because it kind of kicks their food drive into action, and they're less likely to spit it out that way. All right, now we have, this is going to be Paper. He's our Anri Magdalena. So visually stunning. Oh, he's right here, ready. And then shaky shake, and he's coiled. Moving right along, these should all be our good eaters. This is Cafe. Our came from our whitewater albino and het whitewater albino pair. He usually has absolutely no problem eating. He is ready. All right, got him to coil. Buzz him back up. I also kind of want to go through when they do have a harder time eating. I have a few tricks that I do. This guy is ready and waiting. So I will, if you noticed, I don't have any water in with these guys. I'll actually remove their water for the first, or for about 3 to 5 days prior to them eating, because they don't need, like, their baby rosies, all rosies systems can deal with going a pretty long time without any water. And if they're having a hard time eating and you take their water away, sometimes it kind of activates their their feeding response. I know it sounds backwards, but so I leave my pinkies. You guys have never had issues. So I'll leave my pinkies wet, like I have the bowl in water. They're all sitting in their water. Wow, this guy's turning a very bright orange. It's gorgeous. This is actually my first year without any from this litter having a hard time eating. This guy might just take a little bit, or he doesn't like the lights. Or he doesn't like me talking to him. So I just kind of keep going and make him a little upset. Get him to realize it's food. He was trying to get the water droplets off his head. And there we go. Sometimes it just takes them a little longer to realize what they've got, especially when you have some bright lights in their face. Noodle, here comes Noodle, also our albinos. Hi, Noodle. Also never has an issue eating. Shaky, shaky. There you go, big guy. All right, so now let's get to our problem children. So like I said, I've got my pinkies. These guys are like pinky mice. But then I got a few that are more fuzzy sized. They're like a little bit smaller than a fuzzy. And the reason I did that was because sometimes when they refuse to eat, they actually want to size up. And for many, for some reason, they'll just take the fuzzies. And I know that's not normal. Like, you don't want to upsize for a lot of snakes. You want to keep it the same size as the width of their body. But for some reason, baby rosies get selfish and they want to eat. So these, moving on to our San Mateus. And these guys, one of them I've gotten to eat fine. And then the other two are not eating. And let me actually, before we feed him, let me make sure I've got the bright ones. Oops. So I keep track of everything on their cards. All right, so Friday didn't eat last time. Jason is the one that's eating fine. And then 13th hasn't eaten yet at all. So this one, okay, this one is 13th. So I'm going to start with a bigger one, even though he's so teeny tiny. San Mateuses sometimes give us issues. It's like all of mine are born smaller and it's almost like they're weaker. Right, so he seems a bit spunky today. But he hasn't had water in a while. So you can literally see him drinking the water off of the fuzzy. See his jowls not jowls, but like you can see the sides of his head moving. So I'm hoping once he suckles all that water off, he'll realize that there's also food in there for him. Let's get it a little wet again. Come on, baby. Please. I think this would just be way too big. All right, I'm going to try to decrease the size since he's got an idea of what we're working with. This is more the proper size for him. There he goes drinking again. You gotta eat, baby. You haven't eaten at all since you've been born. And you're making me worried. So if this doesn't work, sometimes if you aggravate them, they bite out of being aggravated. And then they realize that, oh, that's delicious. He's just not going to. All right, so I'm going to leave this in here with him for a little bit, see if we get any action, but I doubt we're going to. Moving on to Friday. Friday, what did you do? You didn't eat last time, but you have before. Oh, no, you haven't. Oh, Friday, you don't eat either, huh? She's beautiful. I'm going to take out all the schmutz in there. And again, we'll offer him one of the larger ones. He's a little bigger than 13. And let's see what happens. Also hasn't had any water in a few days. To be honest, if none of these work, since they've already gone a few times without feeding since they've shed, I will actually do live next time. So in 5 days, I'll keep, since they're getting water right now from off of these mice, I will wait another 5 days, and then I'll get live. I'll do live pinkies and live fuzzies, put our guys in a little container, and see if they'll eat it. The too big for you? Let's just try a small one, just to see. Please eat. San Mateus's are one of my, I don't know how to pronounce it, to be honest. It's probably not Mateus. It's probably Matthias. Hey, little guy. But I don't know. They're a rough one to get going. And I'm going to leave it there for you. Okay, now on to the last one, which is Jason, part of our Friday the 13th clutch. Yeah. And usually Jason eats fine. Knock on wood.
What?
And he's under his blankies. Hi, buddy. So move him up a little bit so we can see him. Oh, I dropped it. I'm so sorry I messed you up. This guy is super cute. He, takes it very gently. It takes him a little while to realize it's there. And then he'll just... Oh, he missed it. Wait, what's going on? You don't want it? Usually you do. Oh, you missed it again. You grabbed it. Shoot, I shouldn't have done that. He was taking it very gently like he normally does. And then I went to shake it. And he let it go. He did it again. I can't hold it the whole time for you. What a dork. There you go. You can do it. You got it. She's so fun. I'm just so glad at least one of them is eating. I love these guys. They're one of my favorite. They're so pretty. All right, so now that he's got that mostly down, I will put him back. Since I was upsetting him and I don't want him to regurgitate that, I'll put the rest of his stuff back in when he's done. Okay, so now on to our lake sides. And to be perfectly honest, I don't know how this is going to go. Some of them are, let's get out my sheets here. Some of them have just shed the other day. And so this will be their very first meal I'm offering. And then 2 of them have been fed one time already. And 1 of them ate and 1 of them did not eat, which is weird with lakesides because usually lakesides are pretty feisty. So the one that didn't eat, since he's bigger than the same taste, I'm going to offer him the other bigger, like the fuzzy version. But let's see. So Treilani, here we go. These guys are so feisty. You did not eat last time. See what you're going to do this time. And same thing, I took their water away. He's scared of it. Too big for you? All right, let's try a little one. See what happens. Except you're a big baby, so this should not be a problem for you.
Got it.
No, don't get it. You gotta eat it. Unfortunately, those are just bluff strikes she's doing. There. Oh, she got it. It's gonna be okay. All right, so I'm gonna put her back. Let her eat that. Move on to McGonagall, which I do believe. Oh, McGonagall ate. Okay, so McGonagall has already shed and had 1 meal. Hopefully. Oh, hi. You're waiting there. Ready? Good. All right, she's good. Took longer than what I would have liked, but at least she got it in. Okay, so the rest of these, the last 3 have already shed, but have not been offered a meal yet. So, there we go. Oh, shoot, let go of it. Got it by the head. No, I should have left him alone. All right, so we got it again. Let's see if it holds. She's got a bad grab on it. She's got it from the side. Here, we'll let her try that out. And we'll come back and check. All right, and then the last 2, we've got Professor Lupin. And all I've got left are fuzzy sized, so hopefully that goes over okay. You can get this out of the way. Swag. If it's too big, then I'll just, like, if he doesn't take it, I'll quick thaw out another pinky. Kind of just a game of patience. You know you're upside down. Did you hear them hiss? Sometimes they let out like a lot of air at once to let you know they're very unhappy. There we go. Coiling up and everything. So we'll put him back and check on him. Try not to jostle him. And last is Professor Moody. Here we go. Okay, it's time to make you mad. And shoot it. Oop, I saw your mouth open. So this one I might have to just heat up a little one and feed it. I should have been prepared. Gosh darn it. All right, I'll just get a smaller one for him. But anyway, so I kind of wanted to show you guys the gist of feeding these babies. Okay, so feeding wise, I think we did pretty good today. I am happy with the ones that I did get to eat. And unfortunately, next week, what I will do, I really think that Professor Moody, the last one I tried feeding, I really think if I give him a smaller mouse, like an actual pinky, I think he will eat. He was very perceptive to it. Plus, he bites like anything that goes in there. So I'm very hopeful for that. So I'm not worried about that. All the other lakesides look like, I just kind of peeked in, they look like they're all eating. So that's excellent, even the one that wasn't eating before. And then I'm going to have to do live, I think, for the next feeding time. So I tried to feed them today, and I'll wait 5 days until the next feeding day, basically. And I will get live pinky mice and live fuzzy mice. And what I'll do is put them into a small deli cup, and then I put the mouse in there, I put the snake in there, and then I cover it with my dark colored towel, and I just let it sit on top of the racks and leave it there for a couple hours if need be. I've actually left it overnight before, and they've eaten eventually. It's like they get comfortable with their enclosure or where they're at, and then they decide to eat. I have tried feeding them in their enclosure with live, and I have never had them start eating. But for some reason, in a small container, I don't know if they just get like so upset about it, or if the aroma of the mouse gets, permeated around more efficiently or whatnot. But the container seems to work better than in the enclosure. Other than that, my last thing would be to brain the pinkies, the frozen thawed pinkies. So once they're thawed, you kind of like make a slit in the top of the head, and I squeeze the two sides of the head, which kind of pushes some junk out. And that's really gross, and that gets really messy. And also, I've never had it work, but I do try it every time because you never know when one of them will decide that that's the way they want to eat. So I will try everything. And then my absolute final thing to do is to assist feed them, which I do it because I obviously don't want them starving to death. But 9 times out of 10, even with assist feeding, if they haven't started eating, they're not going to. And it's usually going to be a failure to thrive, to be perfectly honest, at least in my case. I do keep in close contact with a lot of the big name rosy breeders, like the OGs that I like to call them. And that's pretty much like our only options as far as trying to get them to eat. I have even tried the African softford that I will try sometimes with ball pythons if they don't eat. But again, I haven't had any success with that either. So unfortunately, in my experience, if they don't start eating within they'll shed, they'll be born. And then about 10 days to 2 weeks later, they'll shed. And that's when you want to start offering them food. If they don't eat on their own, usually within like the first 3 to 5 tries, waiting 5 days in between each try, I've never had them just decide all of a sudden that they want to eat. They just seem to not have any form of hunger or need to want to eat. So unfortunately, sometimes it happens. I just wish I could figure out the golden key of getting these babies to eat consistently. But it's just one of those unfortunate downfalls of breeding baby rosy boas. But that's also why if you get a rosy from a good breeder, they will come to you eating. Because the one thing I have found is if they eat right away, they will usually never refuse food a day in their life. So if you do your research, you get a rosy from a good breeder, I would always ask the birth date of the baby, and then in your head kind of mathematically figure out how old that rosy is. Take 2 weeks off of the birth date, and then figure out how many feedings that rosy had, because a lot of breeders will say, oh, he's eaten consistently, for 5 to 8 meals or something like that. But you can kind of figure that out if you know the birth date of the baby. And every 5 days after that first 2 weeks, they should have been fed. So that's kind of a good way to monitor if you're dealing with a trustworthy breeder or not. Also, never take a baby that has not consistently fed for the breeder. Or if the breeder's like, oh, he's had a good meal, one good meal, ready to go. That's not true. No, I will keep mine at least 6 to 8 feedings. As a breeder, you really kind of know right off the bat the ones that are going to be good to go. Like the first 6 that I fed, I knew were just going to eat because they've eaten consistently, and that's how baby rosies are. If they start eating consistently, usually nothing's going to stop them unless they somehow get sick along the way or, something catastrophic happens. But they're once a good eater, usually always a good eater. But I'll still hold on to them until they've had a good 6, 8, meals. And then I'll let them go to a home because I know that they're going to be a good eater. As a breeder, I can't let a baby go to somebody not knowing that they're going to be fed and give them a good experience, because I don't want to give them a baby and then have them not eat. And then they have to deal with that, struggle with that. I would rather me struggle with it until they can eat fine, or I need to call them. But I think as a breeder, that should be my burden to carry, not somebody else's. I should not be passing that along. So anyway, I did also want to mention to you guys, I will keep you up to date, let you know if they ate or not, and what my next move is. Okay, so that's it for now. I will keep in contact with you guys, and I'll let you know if I ever get these others to start going. But the ones that have been good eaters for a while now are ready to go to good homes. Some of them I actually have up on our website already, and Morph Market. So our website is thecreaturecove.com, and you'll find us in the same thing on Morph Market if you're interested. Otherwise, I will let you guys go, and I'll see you next time for an update on Tater and Tot. All right, bye!